Welcome to the Hot and Healthy Show, conversations that change the way women work and live. I'm your host, Nicole van Hattem, holistic success coach, TEDx speaker and best-selling author. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Maughan. She's a certified matchmaker from the Matchmaking Institute in New York. And more importantly, she has been marked by the matchmaking gods. She has a freckle we'll talk about in a minute. And more about that later. But our topic today is how to mate for life, in brackets, don't date turkeys. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Nicole. I'm very excited to be here.
Me too.
Hi, everyone.
Me too. Now, Summer, what on earth is a matchmaker?
A matchmaker is someone who helps you find successful matches.
Okay.
The difference between a matchmaker and a dating coach, would you like me to tell you about that?
Please, because I would think, in the modern day and age, we aren't looking for someone to match us. We kind of think that we know how to date until we work it out for ourselves. So, yes, what's the difference between a dating coach and a matchmaker?
So a dating coach, think of Will Smith's character in the movie Hitch. So they help you have successful dates.
Okay.
They give you skills and tips to be a good dater, and they don't necessarily help you find people to date. They help you have successful dates.
So you find the person that you want to date,
Yes.
and the dating coach skills you to be a good date.
Yes.
Right.
Whereas a matchmaker, although we do those things, there's part of that. The core of what we do is, think Patty Stranger from The Millionaire Matchmaker, if anyone's familiar with that show, or Barbra Streisand's character in Hello, Dolly.
That one I'm familiar with.
So a matchmaker finds you people to have compatible dates with. So that means getting to know you very well on a personal basis, so we can then match you with people to date.
Okay, so explain that a little bit more. So I understand, particularly in this day and age, where we've got things like social media and we've got all the different dating online, the Tinders, the swipe left. I'm not in it because I have I'm not looking. But we have all of that. Why are we finding it so hard to date?
In the modern world?
In the modern world.
Gone are the days where, you found your perfect match at the grocery store or the church or the library. Now it's all online. There's online dating apps and reality TV, and that's good for some, but it's not good for everybody.
Wouldn't that make it easier for people to find dating partners, but maybe not a great match?
Not a great match. It has made it more accessible, but it's not for everyone. No, we live our lives online through filters on our phones, and that has infiltrated our love lives. So this convenience and reliance of being connected to everyone and everything all the time has infiltrated everything. And it's easier to swipe right than to make eye contact with a stranger, but it's also less life-affirming and exhilarating. It's more exciting to meet real people, and the online dating game it's a game. It's cold, it's impersonal, and people are making choices about, potentially compatible partners based on a selfie and a paragraph.
Wow. And the interaction tends to be very superficial. So you're not getting to the deep core of the person and to understand whether there is that match. So talk us through the process. How would your service work? And I also want to find out where you got training for this, because apparently it's a profession.
It is a profession. It's the second oldest profession in the world after prostitution.
Which is kind of
same but different.
Yeah.
And it's been practiced and respected for centuries the world over.
Right.
From the deserts of Africa to the Upper East Side of New York. And speaking of New York, that's where I received my training with the Matchmaking Institute in New York. If you want to find something, it's in New York.
Yes. Okay.
So that's where I did my training.
How long was the training for?
So I did the training online because I couldn't get to New York at that time, but I did go eventually. The training was a period of 4 months online. And I was learning with a community of people from all over the world. So some of us were in America, some of us were in the UK, some of us were in Europe, not the UK, other countries in Europe. And we worked with a group of matchmakers from the Institute. Right. So they would run live training events and we'd do projects, and they taught us tips and tricks and how to match, how not to match, and sort of gave us something to work with because it's something I've always wanted to do.
Right.
But I didn't have the nuts and bolts of how to do it.
Right. So take us through the process. So let's say it's a woman that's coming to you and saying, listen, I've been married before, I've been dating, I'm just not finding someone who I would consider as a worthy partner, or it's not lasting. They've got some challenges around that and they want to find somebody that they can partner with successfully. What's the process you would take her through?
Okay. So once someone approaches me, I would have an interview with them, which would be in person if possible, but it would be through an online channel, like a Skype or a Zoom, and I'd get to know that individual.
How do you get to know them?
The first part of the process would be a questionnaire that I would send you that you complete, so I have a snapshot of who you are, and that would look at core values, personality, and character strengths, things you're looking for in a partner, deal breakers, past relationship history, family history, interests, just a snapshot, sort of something like you may put on a dating profile, but more involved.
Right. Okay. So more in depth. So you're really getting to understand the desires, the wants, the drivers behind this woman and her personality profile.
Exactly.
And how long would you take to go through that process?
So the questions that are completed by my potential client, they do them at their own pace and they get them back to me. And then we would have a meeting that would run for about an hour, maybe a little bit longer. And then I would have a profile, and then I'd do some more questions and we'd have another chat. So the whole process to create someone's complete profile before I consider matching them would be about 5 hours.
Right. And then what's the process you would take a man through if he came to you?
The process is exactly the same.
Okay.
Everyone gets the same love. The process is exactly the same for men and women.
Okay, so now you've got a profile on the female and a profile on the male. How do you then work out, what's the skill that you bring to identify who would be a suitable match?
Okay, so the key things I would focus on are compatible and shared values, that I have the exact same shared values is a big one, compatible personalities, and character strengths.
So through your training, you were given the skills to be able to identify personality traits and suitable match?
Yes.
Okay. And so do you have a database of women and a database of men? And
I do have a database of men and women.
You do introductions?
I introduce them. So the process would be, so from my database of men and women, I would match them on those things that we've mentioned earlier. And when I think I find a match, I would give a tiny little paragraph portfolio to the man on the lady, and of the lady to the man. No photo. It's personality based. Interests. Trust me, I'm the matchmaker, I'm the professional. A bit of instinct as well. And then once the man and the lady both say yes, they'd like to meet, the gentleman will get the lady's first name and phone number, and we'll call her.
What?
And organise.
Not texting.
No texting.
WhatsApping,
no
Facebook
texting,
messaging.
No. Well, you only have their first name, so you probably not. You
pretty clever if you can
yeah.
work that out, right?
And the type of people who come to me aren't the type of people who are going to be stalking people on Facebook.
Okay.
They want to meet people face to face. So the man will call the lady and organise the first of 3 dates.
The man calls the lady does not call the man.
No. The man calls the lady.
Why?
Because it's old-fashioned and it's nice. And it gives the man like, not the power, that sounds wrong, but it's
taking
it's an old-fashioned way, and it's initiative, and I just think it's nice.
Is it something the school taught you, or something that you personally feel is the way you want to go?
I'm trying to think. No, they taught us that.
And
all of the schools that I've looked at and researched and been in communication with do the same thing. The man will contact the woman.
Wow.
So he'll make the first move, essentially.
And why no photo?
Because I feel, and we're all guilty of it, myself as well, we make a snap decision based on a photo. You know, we either like the person or we don't like the person based on what they look like.
Okay, so...
Or make assumptions about what they're like based on that photo.
Okay, so when does the photo come into it? So you've got all the details and the data. You've done the matchmaking in terms of, you know, the profile matching. Then he's got the number, he calls her. They're going to make some decisions based on the sound of voice as well.
Yes.
And what they're hearing in the conversation and the pace, etc. So there is a little bit of, oh, I'm not sure I like the sound of this person, or I really like the sound of this person. When does the photo come into it? When does the visual come into it?
When they meet in person.
So they have to meet in person.
Yes. So it's like I'm organising a blind date.
But it's a well-matched blind date.
A well-matched blind date. A well-thought-out blind date.
Okay, so what's the next step? He's got the number, he calls or he doesn't call. Do you get involved and make sure that he takes some action?
I haven't had an instance where he hasn't.
Okay.
So he will call and we'll organise the first date. Everyone's grown up, so I let them have their date, and, you know, they have their first date, which I always suggest is something quite short and sweet. Don't put too much pressure on the first date. A coffee, a juice, a wine, a smoothie, an hour max.
Nice. Okay. And do you give them tips around, you know, maybe someone hasn't dated for a long time, maybe they're, you know, recently single and they've not been in that scene, or they were never in that scene and don't have the skills. Do you give them any kind of dating tips, to-dos and not to do?
I'll give general dating advice, but lots of people aren't necessarily coming to me for that. I will suggest, you know, general tips and hints and niceties, but I won't tell people what to do.
Okay, great. Okay, so now they've met. Is there any more support or service that you give them after that point?
The amount of service and support they want is up to them. I'm here. They've got my contact details. They can call me after the first date, after the second date, after the third date. It's up to them. I'm not your mum. I'm not your best friend. I'm your cheerleader. I'm your matchmaker. I match you and send you on your merry way.
Lovely. And how many times can they come back to you and say, well, they didn't work?
Men and women, different. Women can come back as many times as they like. And actually, yeah, men can as well. It's just different circumstances for that to happen.
Okay.
But it's not one strike, you're out.
Okay. All right, great. And why is this so important nowadays? I mean, what happened? How did the dating scene how did the finding your partner scene get so difficult? What are we missing?
We've sort of lost the ability to have a conversation with people flesh to flesh. People, you know, flesh and blood, people who are right in front of us. It's just easy to be online, which is great. It's made it easy for lots of aspects of our life, but I think there are some things that still need that human touch and that interaction, and I think finding a partner is one of those things. And
what's the risk, apart from horribly expensive divorces? What's the risk that someone doesn't invest in a matchmaker? What are some of the risks?
Wasting time. So much time wasted on dates that weren't well matched, or, you know, not even going on a date, just spending hours trawling through profiles. You know,
right. Why waste your time? Your time is precious.
The time is precious.
And you're worth this investment. That's something that, you know, when I was sort of doing a bit of research prior to the interview and having talks with you, was we spend money researching a car that we might buy, or a business that we go into, or a job opportunity, or a handbag, or the latest phone. This is incredibly important. It's your financial future, your emotional future. It's your time, the one precious non-renewable resource we have as human beings. And what are some of the, what's the great joy in this for you? And how did you become a matchmaker?
The great joy is, it sounds so cliche, but I love love. I just think everyone should have someone. And the joy I get is seeing people connect with other people. And matchmaking is a process. It's not necessarily the first match you have is your perfect match. It's a process.
Right.
So you see people grow and change and realize the things that they thought they want in a partner aren't necessarily the things that they really want or need in a partner. So you see that progression as you work with someone.
Wow, great. Do you have a partner?
Yes, I do.
Did you have a matchmaker help you get your partner?
Well, the universe has a very strange sense of humour, and I was on Tinder for research, and I found my match on Tinder.
Everyone just do that?
I think they could if they wanted to. But what I did differently is I went outside of my type, my normal type. And you have to, if you want something different, you have to do something different. So I think that's the big key. Well, that's what I found with my experience on Tinder. And I was on Tinder to get off Tinder as quickly as possible.
Right. In research, right, what's working, what's not working, pop out. And did you use a bit of intuition or your training to decide whether this person was a good match for you?
Yes, definitely intuition first because it was personal for me. And part of my training as well, because you are taught to look outside the box. Your match isn't always going to be 6 foot tall, ladies. Sorry.
Mine is. Mine just happens to be 6 foot tall.
And they are out there. But, don't write someone off because he's not super tall. Doesn't have broad shoulders. He isn't what you think he's going to look like. If he doesn't look like a Disney prince, he can still be an amazing man.
He can still be the prince.
He can still be the prince. They come in all shapes and sizes. Us princesses and queens, we come in different shapes and sizes.
Absolutely. So, what are some of the mistakes women are making on a first date?
First date. They are looking for that instant spark and chemistry. If it's there, great. If it's not, don't panic. Don't throw the man out with the breadbasket. Have a second and a third date. If he's a nice guy,
it's worth your time and investment, right? Even if the chemistry is not there, keep exploring whether this is a good match for you, because you do need to understand them and understand yourself and how you might work together.
Exactly.
So 3 dates.
3 dates. And coming back to the point about chemistry, there's an author and philosopher called Alain de Botton who makes a very interesting point about chemistry. So often when we meet someone and we don't have that instant chemistry and spark, it's simply because we don't feel that person is going to make us suffer in a familiar way. Should I say that again? Sometimes the only reason we don't feel that instant spark and chemistry is because we don't feel that person will make us suffer in a familiar way.
Wow. How would you explain that?
So those butterflies and your hands are sweating, or it's like, it's so nervous. It's because it sparks something in you that you recognise that's happened before.
Right.
There's something familiar but you can't place it, or sometimes you say, I feel like I've met him before, or it's just right because we know each other somewhere else. It can be that feeling. So if you don't have that feeling,
it's not a deal breaker.
It's not a deal breaker.
Okay, great. Okay.
And so many women and men will not see someone again because they don't feel that instant spark. And they're, writing off amazing potential opportunity.
So in terms of a matchmaker, who should not use the services of a matchmaker?
People who don't want a serious relationship.
Okay, so people who just want to date around.
Who just want to fling, who just aren't ready to really commit to anything, who want to date for numbers, basically. Don't use a matchmaker if that's what you want. Matchmaking is about quality dates, not quantity. Matchmaking is a marathon, it's not a sprint.
I like that.
So it's slow and steady. It's a process. It takes time, patience. You've got to be open. You've got to have a sense of humour. You have to trust. You have to trust your matchmaker. You have to trust the people that you're going on dates with. You have to trust yourself. It's a process. It's an amazing process.
Is that what you help people with? Kind of like mentoring and coaching and kind of hand-holding. You've got this. We've got this. It is going to work.
Exactly.
As you said, cheerleader and matchmaker.
Because I get to know them pretty well, and after they've had their first match, their second match, wherever they are in the process, we're in contact all the time. So we can go over the questions, we can go over the values that they think are the most important, look at personality compatibilities, look at character strengths in themselves, character strengths they're looking in other people, things that they thought they really wanted in a match. And then when they've given them those things, they realise, oh, no, that's not what I want.
Right.
Or they have a match with someone that they wouldn't necessarily match themselves with, but I've matched them with for whatever reason. And I'm like, oh, right.
Wow. I wish this was around for me 20 years ago. I'm very
It has
happy.
been around for a long time.
Well, true, but it wasn't sort of something that, you looked at and said, well, the most important relationship, intimate relationship in my life is worth me investing in. It's worth investing in getting good guidance and professional expertise. And so one question I want to ask you is, your questionnaire goes into their values. What if someone has never asked themselves that question? Like, I have no idea what my values are. I had no idea they were important.
With that question, it's part of the questionnaire that I send out, and I'll have a list that people can choose from. So it guides them, and I'll give a little definition of what a value is, so they don't have to sit there going, oh, I don't even know where to start. It guides them. And as I said earlier, it's not set in stone.
It evolves and changes as their awareness changes. And so what age groups do you work with?
Generally people who use the service of a matchmaker. They are professional people. So they're a little bit older. They value their time. They value respect and privacy. And they generally over 40.
Right.
So they're professional people who hire professionals in other areas of their life. So they see the value in hiring a professional in love.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think this is incredibly valuable, and I think what you're doing is amazing. How can people get more access to you?
They can contact me via my website. It's probably the best way to get me. www.mate.com.au.
And we will put that link here with the show notes as well on the website, NicoleVanHattem.com. And I just have a couple of bonus questions for you.
Excellent. I love a bonus question.
What keeps you up at night?
Keeps me up at night? The gravel on my neighbour's driveway.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but it's the first thing that came to mind.
And what gets you out of bed in the morning?
The same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Perhaps you need to have a chat with the neighbour.
I know. That wasn't a very insightful, deep answer.
It wasn't.
But it's true.
But, it was the first thing that came up. So now, show us your freckle.
So the freckle, in ancient times, this freckle was known as the mark of the matchmaker. And it is a freckle in the shape of a love heart on the inside of my left forearm.
It does look like she tattooed it on there.
It does. And I didn't.
No. That's amazing. And when did that, have you always had that?
No. This appeared maybe 12 months ago when I decided to really take the business seriously.
That's amazing.
And I've had it checked. So it's a good freckle. It's not a bad freckle.
Okay. Yes, because you don't want to have a bad freckle.
No.
If you haven't had your freckles checked, people
check your freckles.
Yeah, check your freckles.
That's a tip for free.
Yeah.
And this one up here is changing as well. But this one's the real deal.
So you may have called that in. Like, I'm now ready. I'm embracing.
The matchmaker gods decided, and they stamped me and said, go forth.
If you want a matchmaker, clearly you want one that is freckle marked.
Yeah, that's certified.
Certified by the matchmaking gods.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being guest on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's been awesome.
It's been very exciting.
I really wish there were more of you, and I'm really hoping that everyone shares this video with people they love who are looking for love and want to have a good match, because it's absolutely worth the service.
Everyone knows someone who is single. If you're watching this and think it's great, but I've got a partner, wonderful. Good for you. Tell your single friends.
Absolutely.
Tell your married friends. Tell your matched friends. Tell everyone.
Tell everyone that summer is here. Summer has arrived. And she's
summer all year round?
Marked. Yes, summer all year round. So, yeah, thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's been fabulous.
It's been delightful.
If you like this episode, make sure you hit the subscribe button and go and check out all our other videos. I'll see you in the next one.